Welcome to GolfCask Original Series, Bottle Share.
Welcome to Bottle Share with Ragged Branch. This is part one. When the economy crashed back in 2008, a group of Virginia builders and developers found themselves in a horse barn, sharing cocktails and wondering what was next. Out of the tack room conversation came a wild idea. Why don't we just make whiskey? What started as a casual thought soon turned serious. Alex and his partners had the land, the grit, and the willingness to take on this paperwork. And then, as luck would have it, a retiring Kentucky master distiller crossed their path. He brought decades of knowledge to help them order equipment and showed up in Charlottesville to help them mash for the very first time. It wasn't easy. The first day ended up with a blown lid and mash all over the floor. But those early struggles built the foundation. Ragged Branch grew barrel by barrel, day by day, and every lesson stuck. From growing their own grains to feeding their cattle with spent mash, they kept control over every part of the process. Today, Ragged Branch isn't just another distillery, it's a Virginia farm-to-bottle story, born out of timing, community, and the stubborn commitment to doing things right. And just like the long round of golf, it's the kind of story best enjoyed with a pour in hand. Cheers, my friend. Enjoy the show. Cowboy cut is good. Hey GolfCast Nation, this is Brian Bailie here, and we are at Ragged Branch, the West Campus in Augusta County. We're here with Alex and Bo, and of course myself, and we're going to be talking Ragged Branch, and we're going to do a quick tasting as well. So Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. And Bo, how are you?
I am also fantastic.
Awesome. It's a Tuesday morning, no better time than to have a sip of whiskey as well. So Alex, just give us a little background about how Ragged Branch started, when it started, and how you became a distiller.
Well, in 2008, the downturn of the economy, we had a horse barn where we went and had cocktails at night. And it was a downturn, and we're all builders and developers that hang out at this we called it the tack room. And we were sitting around saying, what are we going to do? And one of my partners, who's deceased now, said, well, why don't we make whiskey in the hollow? You know, we had about, I guess, 600 acres at that time. And it just kind of stuck, you know? I kept thinking about it. So I didn't have much to do. So I went ahead and did the research on how hard it would be to get a distilling license. And it turns out that, you know, if you stay pressed against the paperwork, you can get one. You know, everybody says, oh, how are you going to post a bond? How are you going to post a bond? Well, we post bonds on neighborhoods all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, posting a bond for us was the easiest thing.
Yeah.
So I just happened to be in that same tack room watching a TV show called Modern Marvels on the History Channel.
Yeah.
And it was an episode called American Whiskey. And on this American Whiskey thing, there was a guy that was a master distiller at a very well-known distillery. And so I cold called him. And he said, hey, I'm getting ready to retire. I'd love to help you set it up.
Wow.
So I said, well, let me drive to Kentucky and meet you, and we'll talk about it. So my son and I got in a truck a week later, and he's just 16 at this point. And we go, we meet him, and we're there for hours, and he's just a wealth of information about, I mean, he's just, you can't write down the stuff. There's no way to absorb everything there is about this business in a 2-hour meeting. And I said, you know what? I'm very interested. So I went back to Charlottesville, and I called 2 of my buddies. And they both says, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's do it. And so we got Dave a plane ticket to come to Charlottesville to meet all of us. And he gets there, it's like February '09, and we get 27 inches of snow that night in County. but I had a big house at the time, and everybody's staying at the same place. So it's a lot of fun for them. I'm out feeding the cows and the horses in the snow while they're in the house, carrying on and drinking.
Having a good old time.
And before we got there, we went and bought as many bourbons as we could from the ABC store. And he sat there, he knew everybody who'd made them, he knew what was in every one of them, and he says, what do you guys want to make? And so after that, and he got snowed in for 4 days. He was just coming in for a night. So we ended up becoming really good friends, and then he helped us put together our program. He ordered all the equipment. I mean, I knew nothing about it. Zero. I knew that I had a bunch of steers at the time, and I was going to get free cattle feed, and that was my greatest motivation.
That's true.
Timing's awesome, right? Though he was retiring. You had this.
Yeah, it was all about timing.
Appointed. Yeah, that's perfect. When things like that it works.
Yeah, but because of the downturn, it took us a long time to get everything together, ordered, built, put together. But he showed up in 14, and all this stuff comes on a tractor trailer, right? And it's in 1,000 pieces. And I've never seen anything like that. I've never been to a distillery.
Yeah.
I don't even know what any of this stuff does. And I hired some plumbers for the pipe work, but I ended up putting this all together, and with some calls to him. And when he showed up that day, we mashed in.
Yeah.
And it worked. We had a couple pretty funny hiccups, but
that's
we got it going. And
what was the best hiccup?
oh my God, the temperature gauge was off on the cooker.
Okay.
So it was too hot. It was been boiling for an hour, and it blew the lid off, and hot mash went all over the ground. I'm talking about tractor buckets full of mash, and cleaning that stuff off. You only do that once. When you have to clean that up one time, you'll always make sure you never do it again.
Well, you knocked that out early, so you didn't have to
we
get it out of the way.
out. That was day one. But we learned a lot from him. We learned fundamentals. We worked out some recipes. And then he had trained a lady that ended up being a master distiller, George Dickel.
Okay.
And she was at our place for a while, teaching us a lot of stuff.
Nice.
And there was also a guy that showed up that was the master distiller, Brown Foreman.
Okay.
And so we learned a lot from him. He and I are still buddies. We talk when we need to talk.
All right. Talk a little bit about the recurring theme I get from most of the distillers is how other distillers are easy to step up and kind of help when you start. And I've even heard where you've gone to a couple of the other distillers around and given them advice, so kind of giving back. So kind of talk about that distiller's mindset of kind of helping the neighbor.
Yeah, everybody's willing to help. Everybody's interested in what everybody else is doing. The way I feel about it is you all of a sudden, after 4 years, you gain this level of confidence because, okay, it just clicks. It's like doing an algebra problem. I can't figure this out. And all of a sudden it clicks and you can solve 50 of them.
Yeah.
And it's like that. All of a sudden it clicks and you're comfortable with tweaking recipes or doing this or doing that. And so that's what it's like for me. But you have to find your own way. You have to take information from all these people that are very successful and create your own program based on the confidence that you've gained over the years.
Yeah.
And, I'll talk to people about different stuff, and how barrels are charred, and that's important because different char levels are different from different places. And, if someone wants to ask, I'm willing to help them.
Yeah. Very good.
Community, relationship-wise, that's nice. It's
Yeah.
good to see that. We get that a lot from people that they're like, yeah, call so, and they were able to answer this question for me. And again, it's not about, I don't think anybody wants to get the answer, but they just need that push in the right direction, right? To figure it out.
Yeah.
So, so you started in kind of the Albemarle County area.
We started in Albemarle County because that piece of land was part of a neighborhood that I developed. And we, at the time, this is early on, we didn't know if we could make whiskey.
Yeah.
We didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off or do it or how it was going to work out. So we bought that piece of land because at the end of the day, it would be a good real estate deal.
Yeah.
Backup plan.
Yeah. It's a very pretty piece of land. There's no doubt about it. So if you haven't been to Ragged Branch in Albemarle County, you should definitely go by and do a tasting there because it is, especially now that we're going into the fall months, spectacular piece of land. So we're running in Albemarle, everything's going well. Why did we come out here to Augusta County?
Well, we needed to expand.
Okay, it's a good problem to have.
It's just simple math. In order to have enough marketing dollars to sell whiskey, you have to have enough whiskey to sell. Yeah. You need to dilute the marketing dollars over more whiskey.
Yeah.
And over in Albemarle County, there's not three-phase power. And to run three-phase power to the old distillery was going to cost $750,000.
Whoa.
And so I was coming over here. This is my dad's old place, and I was coming over here for Thanksgiving or something. And I happened to notice that there's three-phase power right on the corner of my dad's place. And then we started talking about it, and it was logical to come here.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that work here had recently moved, all three of them, from Albemarle County to Stanton and Waynesboro. Mm-hmm. And so they were excited about it because we're within 5 miles of their house.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, so that it was, it just worked out. You know, there's a lot of good things about Augusta County in this location. You know, one is the water. We have limestone formation here. You know, and a good example of that is 30 miles down the road is Coors.
Yeah.
And Peter Coors came here, and back, I don't remember when it was, 80s, and he tested this water, and he said, this water is more pure than Colorado Springs water. And so he builds a huge brewing facility just right down the road now. So you got, your water's right. You know, Augusta County is a huge ag, you know, county. So we're totally ag. I mean, we've got rye we just harvested behind us that we, you know, used to make our Augusta County whiskey, J. Baumgartner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just fit. The transition's tough, but it'll get transitioned sooner or later.
Sooner or later, that's fair. And then you guys are really good at ingredient wise, corn, your wheat, all pretty much self-contained or within the county? No,
it's not within the county. We grow a lot of the rye that we make most of our recipes with on the meadow in Doswell, where Secretariat was born.
Gotcha, and that's why we had the whiskey Secretariat.
So one of our partners in our distillery is the largest grain grower in Virginia.
Nice.
He farms, I'm gonna get this acreage wrong, but at least 25,000 acres of crop. He jokes around that we spill more corn on the ground. He spills more corn on the ground than we use to make whiskey. So he's a serious grain farmer, and he has the combines and the planter. He has the grain dryer, which is critically important. But he also has this gigantic grain cleaner.
Yeah.
So you know, we're controlling that all that.
Yeah.
You know, and we do all of the stuff ourselves, not so because it's cost effective.
Yeah.
It's more cost effective to grow your own crop than to buy it. It's more cost effective to mill it. It's more cost effective for us to bottle our own product, age our own product. But you also have control. I control what rye we're growing, what corn we're growing Kevin controls it, but we have conversations about it. You know, we control when we bottle, what we need to bottle, and we can do it. I mean, I can bottle 10 pallets of whiskey tomorrow, you know, if we have the orders for it, instead of them to ship it off and ship it back. And that just all adds money to the bottle.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we control every part. The waste is a huge part of distilling. If you don't have a way to get rid of the waste, you don't run the next day. So we maintain a cattle farm, and because of the expansion, we're feeding at 2 farms. We feed at Dr. Martin's farm in Augusta County, and we'll feed over at our farm in Nymar County, because our mash has increased by 4 times moving here. And then when it goes to 8 times, I mean, the waste part of this thing is even bigger, you know. I don't want to say issue, but you just got more cows eat it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure a lot of farmers don't mind you coming by going, I might have a little bit of feed for you.
You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised. Fair enough.
You have to control it, because if, say you had one, we've used farmers when we were in transition on cattle before, and a farmer calls up and says, I can't come today, my daughter's sick, or she's got a volleyball game. And then you can't run the next day.
That's true.
Sure.
So you're keeping a bunch of cows all the time so you can control the waste. It's important to our program.
Yeah, very good. And where do you see Ragged Branch going in the future?
Well, we're having increased growth every year. We've lowered our pricing because of where our volumes increased. I mean, my dream is to be a lot of people's everyday drinker in Virginia. I mean, everything in that bottle comes from Virginia. Yeah. You know, and we have incredible lineage all the way back to Stitzel Weller in Virginia. Jay Bumgardner, we have a deal with the Bumgardner family, and we have that recipe from 1820.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not doing it wrong. I mean, I'm never going to put anything in the bottle that's not excellent.
Yeah.
And I do all the batching. So there's no reason that Ragged Branch shouldn't be the majority of everybody's everyday drinker. Then that's my dream, is that it goes out systematically in tractor trailers.
Yeah. Very nice.
What's your distribution now? And obviously through Virginia ABC, what's the breadth and scope of the distribution for where you're selling to?
Well, DC, Maryland, that's basically Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia.
Claim certain parts where Jeff goes.
Yeah. And then we're in Tennessee, we're going good. We're in Florida at ABC Wine and Spirit, which is a wonderful company to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so they have 130 stores down there. And then we have a pretty strong presence in Louisiana, because 2 of the partners of Ragged Branch, the founding partner is in New Orleans.
Okay.
So that, you know, for us, him being there is like our background. And then I think that's pretty much it. And that's, you know, we need to be in North Carolina, but it's hard to be in North Carolina. And we'll pick up states as we go.
Yeah.
But we got to be close. We got to be slow about it.
Yeah.
Because we made only a barrel of whiskey a day for a long time. We ran that still 7 days a week, 10-hour days. It burned my son out.
Yeah.
He worked there 10 years doing that and says, Dad, I got to do something else.
That's fair.
And so, we can't just go in like crazy, but we're making whiskey to stay with that growth curve.
Nice.
Well, I would assume you have to be, I mean, it's different than some markets where you need to go build that market and then you'll just backfill with supply. The craftiness of this, I assume, has some limitations too. You don't want to get to the point where and you said you wouldn't pollute the product just because you have a market. That's right. It's backwards.
Yeah, Ragged Branch And J. Baumgartner will never be sourced. I will never do it.
Yeah. That's great.
So what are your recipe-wise? Do you lean what grains do you lean towards?
I personally like our signature.
Okay.
Our signature was made, we started out making wheated bourbon.
Okay.
And Dave was in town and we were having dinner. My girlfriend was there and she says, I don't like wheated bourbons. I like Jack Daniels. So,
Hole number 7?
yeah.
Anyways, go on.
So Dave goes, Alex, it'd be a good idea for you to do a rye product also. And we didn't have any rye, so I planted some rye.
Yeah.
And when we harvested the rye, my son and I worked out with a couple phone calls the recipe for our signature. And so I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I mean, it's my daily drinker. I'm very proud of it. I will say I just got back from Florida last week or Friday, doing tastings around Florida at the ABC, and there's 4 of us down there doing stores, and the big winner was the bottle and bond wheated.
Nice.
So that's why you make 2.
That's why I asked for the wheat. I'm starting to explore that. I wasn't definitive enough to say I didn't like wheated, but I didn't think I liked that flavor profile as much, but I started to appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah. So I'm real proud. We made a barrel signature, first barrel we made of it, and set it in the distillery on some blocks. And after a year, I'd take my turkey baster and go over there and take a little nip of it. And one of the distillers that we'd had come in, it was actually Nicole from Dickel before she was at Dickel. She'd take some of it, and I'd never forget her face. She went, "You've got something here."
That's nice.
So it felt good. So, yeah. And then the other, guy that was Brown Foreman guy said, Alex, this is who told me, make what you like. Make sure, and then clean distillate in is clean bourbon out.
Yeah.
Don't put anything in the barrel that's not clean and has good flavor already. And that's it. Don't talk yourself into that the barrel's gonna fix it. The barrel will never fix offensive flavors in your distillate. If your distillate's got some weird flavors, you gotta punt. Go back to your cook, go check your fermentation. You have to change your program because, keep doing the same thing, you get the same flavors. So.
That's true. So that's the story of Ragged Branch. Born out of a horse barn, a little bit of timing, and a whole lot of Virginia grit. From the snowed-in meeting to a retiring Kentucky master distiller to farm-to-bottle operation feeding cattle with mash, this place is proof that passion and persistence can turn an idea into a legacy. But the story doesn't stop here, because whiskey is best understood in the glass. In part 2, we'll sit down with Alex and Bo for a tasting of Ragged Branch's signature, a historic J. Baumgartner, and the Bold Cowboy Cut. 3 bourbons, 3 words apiece, and a chance to see how the story comes alive in every pour. Here's to the final pour for part 1. Cheers, and we'll see you next week with the tasting.
If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you follow us and join us at golfcast.com. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, and all other socials. Cheers, my friend.